G'day guys, it's Mark here and welcome back to the Arn't Empire. Now in this episode we're going to be having a full-blown rant about car prices.
Tell him he's dreaming.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
Okay, now I am absolutely sick to death of hearing it. In fact, it's tapered off a little bit in the last few months. Things have settled a little bit. But over the last few years, let's be honest, car prices are climbing. And it's only since COVID, things have got ridiculous. But obviously before then, car prices were already climbing, let's be honest. COVID did not change it that much. Now, that's going to be controversial in itself. People are going to be ranting in the comments. Let's just take a step back, guys. I'm getting a bit worked up and I don't even know where I'm heading yet. Now, this is going to be another rant video. Just like my last video recently, we were talking about over-restoring cars and most of the people in the comments could understand where I was coming from. A few people maybe took it the wrong way a little bit. And I'll put that down to my inability to explain myself properly. I probably lack the vocabulary and the zing that I need to sort of get my point across. I sort of haven't really prepared myself properly, and I haven't yet again, but I'm going to give my best shot right now. So over the last, let's say probably at least 10 years, car prices have been getting to a level that no one probably ever expected. They were always climbing when we're talking classic cars. Obviously, it tended to begin with muscle cars and more iconic cars, always held a higher level of value. But now what is happening is it's bringing all the lower model cars up with it. And to me, I don't know, man. I get my back up a little bit when people rant on about the value of cars and that things are not worth what people are asking. Well, I'm sorry guys, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all that they're worth exactly what people are prepared to pay, and it comes down to one thing and one thing only: supply and demand. I'm sick of hearing about all the bullshit about cars are not worth this. I sold them they were worth $500 back in the day. It's only a Falcon or base model Kingswood. Whatever. I'm fucking sick of hearing it, guys. It's supply and demand. Always has been, always will be. Now, of course, there are factors that contribute to the supply and demand. But at the end of the day, if there are not buyers for the cars that are available, then they're simply not going to get the money because it's so obvious, like it's so basic, and it actually does my head in that people are still carrying on. You see it over, Facebook all the time when people are, advertising nice cars, sometimes not nice cars, whatever. They're advertising cars on Marketplace, and people in the comments are just fucking hammering them. Get a life, dude. If you fucked up and sold a car back in the 80s for $500 or wrecked it and done burnouts and left it out in the paddocks because that's all you've done with them, well, that was a sign of the times. There was more cars out. There was more desirable cars that we look at as desirable now. They weren't desirable then because they were everywhere. So you ran them into the ground and left them. Just because that happened 40 years ago doesn't mean that the cars that are available now are worth the same money. Get your fucking head out of your ass. Like it actually gets me so angry. And this is coming from someone that I have done a bit of buying and selling since I was a teenager. That was my way of being able to not only make a bit of money. Some people get the shits on when people make money on cars, but I'm not even going to go into that. I've made a little bit of money on cars along the way, but that was my way of enjoying the cars that I would never be able to own forever. Let's be honest, if we all had one of everything we wanted, we'd need a 5-acre shed, and it's not going to happen. So my way of doing that would be buying a car, doing a few little bits and pieces, and then on selling it maybe a year or so later, after I've had a bit of fun with it, enjoyed the car, and I've also raised the value a little bit because I've put some effort into that the last guy wasn't interested in doing, or maybe didn't have the skill to do, or the vision, or whatever. Anyway, coming from that, that's another video on itself. But coming from someone that has made a bit of money on cars, but also coming from someone that's a genuine enthusiast about saving every car that I believe should be saved, I'm going to go as far as saying the value of cars being far higher than they used to back in the day, and being unaffordable for most people that have a problem with it, I should say. The people that are having an issue with it, stiff shit. The cars that are now worth more money is a good thing for the car industry, for the car scene. Now, let me tell you why. Now, the fact that these people were thrashing cars out, leaving them, they weren't worth anything. The fact that they were a dime a dozen back in the day meant that they were disregarded far too easily. And fair enough, there was billions of them. But what's happening is now that they're all disregarded for such a low value, now that whatever's left, people are cherishing and trying to savor what they can. This is also the reason that the value of shit boxes, in some people's opinion, is going up. But what are the options? So let's say there was multiple cars back in the day. They're getting trashed and disregarded. So now we're down to a smaller proportion. So what's happening is people are not only trying to pay premium money for a quality car because they're so rare, they're also paying a fairly premium price for a shitbox because they have to. Because if they don't, they got no other options. There's no more chrome bumper cars getting built. So your option is save the shitbox or go without. Now, in my opinion, for the greater good of the car culture, I would rather that shitbox be worth big money, because it makes someone put the value and effort into saving that car and keeping it on the road. Now, looking in this shed, excluding maybe 2 cars, at least 3 of these 5 cars would otherwise have gone to the wreckers or been scrapped. Andrea's Tirana, 100%. That was an absolute rust bucket. There's no way in the world that thing would have ever been saved if it was 20 years ago. My LTD, I think I paid less than $3,000 for that. Same thing, it was sitting in a paddock, wasn't running, with a bunch of other cars. There's no way in the world someone would have put the money and effort I did into that car 20 years ago. And lastly, right behind me, this little Cortina, which admittedly is kind of looking like it's ready for the tip again. It's covered in that much dust, but that thing, I think I paid $1,000 for the car, which is kind of unheard of in this sort of, in this climate, but it had no motor. It had been wrecked out sort of partly, and honestly, it wouldn't be worth pretty much anything back in the day. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not worth massive money now, but if someone that had that exact same car back in the 80s or 90s will see what that car is now worth, they're not going to like it. And I'm here to tell you stiff shit. If you don't like the value of cars, either you cannot afford it through your own misfortunes, I'm not going to go into finance here, or, I don't know, maybe you just got a shit attitude. And furthermore, who cares? If someone's got a higher price on a car that you think, I see it often, I think, oh, that's a bit up there. Who cares? If the guy gets it, fucking good luck to him. And if he doesn't, he'll soon work out why. He'll bring the price down and find the true value of the car. But at the end of the day, guys, it's supply and demand. And it's just such a simple thing, but yet you still seem to see it all the time and hear it. People complaining about the price of stuff. And you know what else? I'm going to sort of start wrapping up already, because I can see when I get on a bit of a rant, I don't really tend to make a lot of sense. This is not thought out. I don't have dot points. I don't have a little list of things I should be talking about. I haven't rehearsed this. That's probably why I lack composure when I do these videos, guys, but I think you're getting my point. Another thing is the value of labor and knowledge in the car industry. People complaining about the cost of what shit is now It does my head in. You will never hear a tradesman that understands and has perfected his craft, no matter what trade that is, complaining about tradesmen, because he understands the time and effort and knowledge you need to get through the job and get a result. The people that complain about stuff irrelevant of the trade, but we'll talk about cars and we'll talk about paint panel, for example. The price of paint nowadays is ridiculous. Oh, it's crazy what people want for paint job nowadays. Okay. You'll never hear that from someone that's painted a car. You'll never hear that from someone who knows how to paint a car or has actually done a decent job, or actually has done some rust repairs, has restored a car, irrelevant of what level they've got to. You'll never hear that from someone that's done that, because they don't know the fucking hours you spend. Now, I've talked about this briefly in videos before, and I won't get into it, but to me, it's related also to the car stuff. That's not so much supply and demand. Well, in a way, supply and demand comes into it for the sheer amount of people in the trade nowadays offering services, which is another reason why the price of cars being high is good. People value people are valuing their cars more. They're putting money and resources into keeping them on the road, which is making the industry huge. The amount of shit in this country alone, let alone the world, that are building stuff for old cars, that are putting out aftermarket products, that are restoring cars, that are maintaining cars, that are tuning, all that stuff. It all comes with the price. If they were all worth fucking nothing, no one would be spending money on the cars and all the industry would be dead. It's so clear, but it seems to be so overlooked, and it does my head in. Now, moving into those industries, people whinge about the price of shit. Oh, the price of paint costs too much. Go paint a fucking car, mate. Go do some rust repairs and paint a car, and then work out what you want to be paid. Because even if you're giving yourself a base rate, like the same money you'd get for working at Macca's, it still costs more than people want to spend. It just comes down to the hours you're spending. What is with people's attitudes and the cost of things? Look, I don't want to spend more money. I'd love it if everything was free too. But you got to look at the reasoning and why it's got to that, and understand and appreciate it. You can't just have a whinge at everyone else or the whole industry or the car scene or something because you don't think it's worth it. Fucking wake up to reality, man. Like, it actually does my head in. Okay, anyway, I'm going on a rant, guys. I don't know if I've ever made my point clear. I struggle with these videos, but sometimes I need to get this shit off my chest. I'm not sure if anyone understands where I'm coming from. Let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. I'm sure a lot of you are going to understand, and a lot of you are going to have something to say. And I'll do my best to reply to everyone. I feel like I'm probably going to have an answer for most people because I'm pretty fucking stubborn. And once again, maybe the feedback is a good thing. I can respond with some clearer answers than what I'm trying to give now. But food for thought, guys. Let me know what you reckon in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Car stuff's been dead lately, man. We've been flat out doing some renovations. We'll try and get some stuff on the More Than a House channel soon as well. But that's going to be for now. That's going to be it for now. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to try and keep this edit free as well. There's going to be a bit of editing in here, but I'm going to try and keep it short, sharp, shiny, simple. And if you are in Adelaide or SA in general, come on down to the Woodside Airstrip Car Meet. Charlie's been going hammer and tong putting these events on. He's really stepped it up, and this next one coming up on the 5th of May, it's like a cars and coffee style event, but we're going to try and make it a pretty big one. So it's at the Woodside Airstrip, which is obviously the coolest location. It's going to be from 8 until 12. It is free entry. We're going to have a bunch of giveaways. We're going to have a bit of a merch pack giveaway. By the way, check out the merch store. We've got some Doomsled merch you need to get your hands on because I love that new print. Also, Charlie's going to be doing some giveaways. We've got Toolkit Depot on board, doing maybe hopefully a toolkit tool giveaway of some sort, and a bunch of other sponsors that are coming on to, once again, support the car scene, spread awareness for their own brands, And once again, it is all good stuff. So if you're a tight ass, you don't like the cost of cars, come out to our car show because it is free. You might be able to afford that one. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.